This video will show you how to use your calculator to find the parameters for a discrete probability distribution. The following probability distribution represents the number of coffee that would be purchased by a random customer. Find the mean, standard deviation, and variance. As we see here, this distribution has been presented in tabular format. So we're going to go into the Stat and Edit feature of our calculator and edit two separate lists. One list is going to have the random variable x, which is the number of coffees, and a second list is going to have the corresponding probability for each random variable. Make sure that they do match up row to row as they are appearing. The next thing we're going to do is walk through the steps here that are presented in your lecture notes for finding these parameters. So we're going to go into the Stat feature, over to the Calculate submenu, and select one variable stats. Now what we're going to do is tell it the list name is going to be the random variables. So that's where I stored them in L1. That's good. The frequency list is going to be the corresponding probabilities. So we're going to go to Second in Stat, that's the list feature, and select list 2. Press our down arrow key here to calculate. Now please be aware that if you're using your calculator to do this with an older operating system, once you have one variable stats on the screen, you're going to select L1, press your comma key, and then select L2. I will go through this at the end of this lecture. So now we do see our mean of this distribution, but keep in mind that it's not going to be X bar as our calculator states. This is the mean of the entire population, so make sure you write your answer with the mu as you're required to do. We're going to round to one decimal place because the random variables had no decimal places. And then don't forget our units of coffee. The standard deviation. You'll notice that your calculator knows that we are not finding the standard deviation of a sample. And in fact, it's the standard deviation of the population, the sigma followed by the x. Again, the rounding rule says carry one decimal place here because our random variable had no decimal places. So sigma, use the appropriate notation for this class, equal to 1.4 units of coffee. To find our variance, we're going to use the variables feature again. We're going to square this entire number here. So press variables. We're going to go into the statistics menu, option number 5. Now be careful here, it's option 4, sigma x, that we need to square today. So select that, and then we'll hit our square key. Hit enter. Rounding to one decimal place, we have sigma squared, use the appropriate population notation, equal to 2.1, and don't forget our units will be coffee squared. As indicated earlier, I want to show you what it looks like when you use the one variable stats feature to go through and compute with the older model calculator. You see, this will be the input you will have, one variable stats, and then you're going to enter in the first list that's going to have your random variables, press your comma key, which is right here above the 7 key, and then put in your second list, which is going to be your probabilities. Once you do that and hit enter, you get the same output screen that we see here.